and welcome to Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. This is your go-to show for your best bets ahead of the weekend. And this weekend, we have a plethora of action at the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown. My name is Kate Tracey, and alongside me, as always, I'm being joined by Declan from attheraces.com and Sam Boswell of BetVictor. So, lads, great to have you both with me yet again. Declan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Kate. Yeah, really excited. This is a mega weekend. Obviously, brilliant racing at Dublin, the Dublin Racing Festival. Good racing at Sandown as well, and Wetherby. So yeah, it's going to be a seriously good weekend. As you can see from my get up here, I'm going for the priestly look, looking for a bit of divine inspiration after last week's selection. But it's going to be a seriously informative weekend. Looking forward to it.
Saying our prayers for all of us for our tips this weekend, Sam. In comparison to last weekend, elephant in the room, as Declan said. Have to acknowledge we didn't get off to the best of starts. A few of us may as well have been backing elephants, as we say, with some of our tips last weekend. But we can only go up from here.
Yeah, a bit like my fashion sense. It was a disaster last week. But the good news is we've got a fresh set of racing to get stuck into. The Dublin Racing Festival, what a highlight of the season. I'm amazed by just how well this event's come on in just a few years that it's existed. And we've got some action to get stuck into, haven't we, Kate?
Yes, certainly so. And do remember at home, we always preach to gamble responsibly. So we're going to be giving some tips now. They are not guaranteed to win, as we've already shown, but we're still going to hope to send you in the right direction. And do remember to like and subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Now, the first race we're going to kickstart with, what a way to kickstart the DRF. This is the Grade 1 Nathaniel Lacey Solicitors Novice Hurdle over 2 miles 6 at 120. BetVictor currently have the race priced up as follows. With Goodland as the 11-4 market leader, Croix de Paris 5-1, and it is 11-2 bar. So, as I say, brilliant way to kickstart Leopardstown, Declan, isn't it? So, how are we playing this?
Yeah, look, I'm actually going for a British Raider in the first race in Ireland at the Dublin Racing Festival, which is probably not an ideal way to start. But look, I do like we've all been caught. I think he should be shorter than 11-2. I really do. You know, the Twist and Davis camp hold him in such high regard. Made a good debut behind Hermes Allen, which form has been franked at Cheltenham earlier in the season on the old course. I didn't think he liked the old course. Then he went to the new course, but won really well there from a horse called
My Way.
Rock My Way, that was it. So the form is all frank there. I think he loved Leopardstown. Big galloping track, got a little bit more experience than their favourite, Goodland. Yeah, I like him. I just think he should be a lot shorter in the market. I think he should be nearly pushing favouritism at least second favourite.
You know what, I don't know if it's a positive or a negative here, but we're both agreeing. We're both feeling very patriotic, clearly. Flying a little Union Jack there. The Twist and Davises are heading over to Ireland to take on the Irish horses in their backyard. Fair play to them. I think that more British trainers should be doing this and more connections, because we have a good record when we go over there. And it's not as though we're going to if we get beaten over there, you're going to get beaten in March anyway. But I totally agree. We've all been caught for me as well at that current price. The fact his form was franked by Rock My Way. My good friend and colleague Andrew Mount, massive trends and bias analyst. And he said when he won last time out, the trip was too short. There was an almighty headwind at Cheltenham that day. Yet he faced it head on, managed to run straight into it and still prevailed from a subsequent Grade 2 winner in that race as well. Yeah. So we've all been caught for the pair of us, Steve. Sam, you're going to bolster it?
Absolutely not. Of course not. Listen, let's keep it simple, Kate. This is the Dublin Racing Festival. Willie Mullins has winners. He's got a really interesting contender in Croix de Paris. I watched the run back again at Tremor on New Year's Day. I think everything was against him that day. Clearly, he wants a bit further, which he's going to get today. That was over 2 miles. We step up here to 2 miles 6. I think the conditions as well, it was very heavy ground. Paul Townend had to come really quite far wide on the track. It wasn't ideal. I don't think the track suited at all either. But he's a 5-1 shot here. And he's already seen a little bit of interest early doors. I think he goes off a lot closer to the favourite Goodland. I really, really like him. I think he's a really nice horse. I did have a quick flick through the French form. I can't pretend to be an expert on it, but what I would say is Diamond Carl, who beat him on his only start in France, has subsequently gone on to win graded races. I think he's a really, really nice horse, and I think he's a contender potentially to be one of the nicer novices in the yard, albeit that debut was a shade underwhelming. But look at the horses Willie Mullins started in that race at Tremor in the past. Some very big names.
Very much so. So basically, you're going against your own country, people. Sam, I hope you feel proud of yourself. Sold your soul there. So just to wrap up selections, Declan.
Yeah, we've all been caught for me.
We've all been caught for me as well, and Sam?
Croix de Paris.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's our selections then for race 1. Of course, do remember to get involved with your own selections for this race in the comments section below. We always like to hear from you. Now we're going to move on to our second race because this is yet another Grade 1. This is the Grade 1 Donahue Marquise Spring Juvenile Hurdle over 2 miles at 1:55. Now, the market would tell us, and general consensus is probably correct, that this race is all about Lossiemouth, the current Triumph Hurdle anti-post favourite as well. But Willie Mullins also has 5 other runners in here. That it really is quite something. That's not even including Blood Destiny. So, Sam, it's a one-horse race in this market. So how are you seeing this?
Yeah, I'm going to be quite boring here. Lossiemouth is around an even money shot for the Triumph Hurdle, and you can see why. The form has stacked up really, really nicely when you look back at last weekend's race at Cheltenham. I know it's dull, but it's really hard to get away from the fact that she seems a really, really talented horse. And the visuals, for me, I love the way she runs. I suppose the one thing you could question is the fact that you've got the likes of gust of wind, really unexposed, coming here after just a 1 start or a toy. But the market suggests he's not going to get near the stablemate. I know it's boring. I know it's not much of a price. I'll probably have a look at the length and the odds option on BetVictor and try and squeeze a bit more value by going sort of over 2.5 lengths. But is this actually the most sort of competitive renewal of this race? I feel like we are lacking someone to take on the favourite here.
Yeah, we probably are, but at least Sam has given us an option there to side with the very short price odds on favourite then, Declan, with the length and your odds option there all the same, but surely you're taking her on.
No, I'm not. I just think she's going to win. You know, you try and pick holes at horses at these kind of prices, but she's been pretty faultless so far. Maybe when, you know, you can get the French replays on attheraces.com. It's a brilliant resource for watching these French horses run before they come over here. Maybe the only fault you can make is when she won at Auteuil at the last hurdle. She made a very bad mistake and jumped left. But since then, you know, she's been faultless. She travels strongly, maybe a bit too strongly. I'd actually, you know, that's maybe one thing she hasn't got in her locker. We haven't seen her in a strongly run race, but you know, I just think she's going to settle better in a strongly run race. So she's got an unbelievable pedigree as well. I think she's by Great Pretender, and her dam was a half-sister to Lord Glitters. So even on paper, what we've seen on the track, physically, she still kind of looks quite leggy. She's going to improve with time. Brilliant jumper. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to see her turned over. I would just say quickly, the other Mullins horse, the second favourite, Galamarcu, they clashed at Leopardstown over Christmas. She was beaten 7.5 lengths, but she was back from 7s into 3s that day. So she is a horse who clearly goes very well at home as well. So that's just something to keep a note of ahead of this race, to see if there's more money for her.
Yeah, now it's going to be all up to me, therefore. The pair of you two siding with the very short price favourite, so I have to bring something a little bit different to the table. For all that, I agree. I think that Lossiemouth is probably going to win. But the horse for me is Takao, currently in there at 14-1. I think he's fascinating. Now, yes, this horse is currently leading the market for the Boodles, but he needs this third start to even get into the Boodles, because, of course, we know with novices now to get into handicaps, they need 4 runs. They have allowed the juveniles to only have the 3 runs, I think understandably so, given that they are babies. So, but he's only rated 1-2-1. Even with the Irish penalty, it's a given that he's going to be getting the few pound for the Boodles. He still needs to be getting close enough in this race to be assuring his position in the Boodles anyway. So I'm hoping that he's going to be ridden here to gain a place. He's even been fitted with a first-time hood. Never really an angle I like over hurdles. The trends would tell you that's a notable negative. But all the same, though, I think that Takao is a smart horse, won over this course and distance previously as well. And like I say, I think he needs to be going close in there just to assure his place in the Boodles. Fred Winter, all the same. Anyway, so selections.
He needs to be going close, but not too close.
Not too close. So yeah, it's going to be a fine line, isn't it, for how they're going to work that one. But I think Lossiemouth will win anyway. But Takao for me, each way to run into a place. Declan.
Yeah, look, Lossiemouth is a selection. Whether she's a bet is another story. But you know, yeah, Lossiemouth.
Sam?
And I'm going to round it off with Lossiemouth as well. Very unoriginal, but I think she's a nice horse, and at least we can enjoy a performance. Yeah,
so they are our selections then for the Boodles. Again, do remember to leave us a comment in the section below with your own selections for the race. And we'll move on to race 3, because what a race this is. Goodness me, we have so much talent on offer. Don't know where to look, to be honest with you. This is the Grade 1 Goff's Irish Arkle over 2 mile 1 at 2:30. Just a display of firepower for the master of Close Sutton, because Willie Mullins, he has Appreciate It, Dysart Dynamo, El Fabiolo, Saint Noir and Flame Bearer in here. Now, this will likely sort out the Arkle pecking order for the team, but my word, Declan, how do you sort these lot?
This is some race. I'm really, really looking forward to it. You know, Willie's got 3 there, Appreciated, Dysart Dynamo, El Fabiolo. Oh, sorry, he's also got Saint-Ois as well, and Flambear. All good horses. You know, these are class horses. You got a Supreme winner in there and Appreciated. Dysart Dynamo went off 9-4 with joint favourite with Constitution Hill and last year's Supreme. It's going to be a cracker. And with Dysart in there, it's going to be run at a good pace. So it's going to, you know, there is nothing like 2-mile chasing in this game. So yeah, this is going to be an absolute belter. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. And I am with Dysart Dynamo as well. Like, he's just mad, isn't he, basically? He's just the most typical stamp of a Westerner I think I've ever seen. As you see him up on screen there, he's a monster. He is huge. And yes, he took that almighty fall in the Supreme last year. For me, that was a tired fall to be making that mistake. But he's only had the one start over fences. It was over this course and distance, as we know. And he's always had the size and scope, despite that fall, to be making up into being a better chaser anyway. So I think he's going to go from the front. I think he's got a perfect jockey on board as well. Completely understand why Paul Townend would side with Appreciate It, given the class that he has. But of all of these horses, trying to decide what was going to go for the Arkle, what was the Turners, I thought that Appreciate It would be the one to step up. So I have to take him on here with Dysart Dynamo for me as well. Sam, who do you fancy?
I'm going to take the favourite on as well, Kate, even though 6 out of the last 8 runnings have gone to favourites. I thought El Fabiolo was a really interesting contender here. I mean, you could even be really naughty and back him each way, couldn't you, I suppose, at the current prices.
Would you dare that?
I mean, it's a bit naughty to put him up that way. But no, but I just think he's only had the one start. He won in terms of a distance impressively. A couple of bits of the jumping were a little bit iffy, but I'm quite prepared to forgive that. This is a horse that, don't forget, over hurdles went down just a neck to John Bont at Aintree. I know he's got a bit to find on the numbers, but I really, really think he's a contender here. And you know, you can never, ever write off Willie Mullins' 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th string at all. And he's not, is he? I think it's quite an insult to even consider that. But I really, really like him. I Appreciate It for me. There's just something that nags about me that I don't like him. I've got no real stats or guide. He's, what, a 9-year-old now, and he's had just a handful of starts. Willie Mullins made a really interesting comment as well. He did just say in his briefing around the press event for this, it's coming quite quickly. This will be his 3rd start in what is a fairly quick succession for a horse that clearly has had niggles in the past. I don't know. At the prices, I want to take him on. If he goes and absolutely bolts up, I'm quite happy to be wrong, put it that way.
I would just say as well, with Appreciated, he's got easy leads in the 2 races. He's run at kind of not going too quickly. And I think he's jumped lefts quite a few times as well. I think with the ground at the chase track, they try and stick as far right as they can because the ground is better. So chance maybe he's jumping left into slower ground as well. So yeah, for me it just boiled down to I thought Dysart Dynamo looked the more natural over a fence, and that's what I came down to. I think he's probably going to, I hope he's sharpened up for the run, and if he jumps as well as he did the last time, you know, a lot of these horses, it's going to be the quickest they've ever gone over fences. It's going to put their they're going to put their jumping under a series test. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So Dysart Dynamo for you, Declan. Dysart Dynamo for me, and Sam, you're going with El Fabiola for a cheeky little each way play. That is our summary then for what is going to be a brilliant race again. Do let us know what you fancy for that, and we're going to move on to our final race that we're going to be looking at in this section, at least anyway, because it's another Grade 1 and it's a big one. It's the Grade 1 Irish Gold Cup over 3 miles at 3:05. Now, of course, the market, the race, everything is all about Galopin Des Champs, the absolute monster that is. He is the current 1-3 market leader. But of course, we do have another contender in here hoping to do the Irish Gold Cup, Cheltenham Gold Cup double with Statler, who's fascinating. And it wouldn't be the Irish Gold Cup without dear old Kembo in here as well. But Sam, only 7 runners. So from a betting perspective, what are we doing?
Yeah, 1-3 Galopin Des Champs, 6-4 for the Gold Cup with ourselves at the moment. And he does really set the standard amongst these chasers. I thought his reappearance was, you know, you couldn't crab him, could you? There's not a lot you could find wrong there. The second's a nice horse that he beat that day. I'm slightly disappointed that we didn't get Gordon Elliott's runner conflated here. I completely understand why they're going to wait for the festival with him, given the ground conditions. I think it's just a case of having a bit of a watch for me this race. I don't think I'm going to play it too hard. I think the favourite's going to win. You mentioned Ken Boy, what a brilliant servant he's been to Connections. Possibly just a year too old now to get involved in the mix. Second favourite's a very nice horse, and I thought ran really nicely the last day, but I am going to be really boring and side with the favourite here. I probably won't have a bet in the race, but I think he's a brilliant, brilliant horse. And I think he's really going to put a marker down for the Gold Cup this year.
Yeah, I expect so as well. My claim to fame is actually I platted his forelock for the Cheltenham Festival last year, so I will take full blame for jinxing him. Probably won't be allowed near him again ever, basically. But he's a wonderful horse, so Declan, isn't he? But what are we doing from a hardcore betting perspective?
Yeah, look, I think it's probably not a betting race. It's one to look at. This is going to be Galopin Des Champs' first try over 3 miles over fences, which is going to be really interesting. You know, like a boxer, you know, who's lining up a big fight down the road. You shouldn't be kind of dismissing your opponent here. But I think everyone's going to be watching this race in terms of a Gold Cup trial for Galopin Des Champs. The signs are positive about him with the trip. I thought he was much better in the John Durkan. He looked a lot more settled than he usually does. He did throw in a couple of fresh leaps, which you would allow him. It was his first start of the season. But I just want to see him, you know, sometimes after these horses have their first runs of the season, they can sharpen up mentally and he could go back to his old ways. If there is a chink in the stamina, Statler is definitely a horse that will kind of, you know, make him work really hard. He stays really strongly. I thought he was super impressive in winning the National Hunt Chase at the festival last year. He bolted up, and you look at him physically, he's a horse who's only going to keep on getting better and better. But look, I think it's all about Galopin Des Champs. I would like to see them go a good even gallop throughout so we get a proper look at Galopin's stamina. But, you know, with Kemboy in there, he'd probably get an easy lead. He's kind of a sit and sprint kind of front runner. But no, it's going to be probably not a betting race for me, but it's going to be a really intriguing race in terms of looking ahead to the Cheltenham Festival picture.
Very informative if he's going to be getting that trip, which personally I have no fears about that. And I do expect him to take all the beating here. But from, as I say, a cold-hearted betting standpoint, if I'm trying to find a bet in this race, for me, that's overpriced, is Any Second Now, because he's a monster price. And I think he's being priced up on the fact that his main aim again this season is obviously going to be going back for the Grand National at Aintree. But you see his price up there now, 33 to 1, because Galopin Des Champs should win. Statler doesn't have a good record in Grade 1 company. Kemboy was well fancied for the race last year, ran below himself. Why a year on should he be any better in this race? So you're really sort of trying to dig and poke around for anything with value in behind. And Any Second Now, he is second in on RPRs, on top speed figures behind Galopin Des Champs. I can just imagine him being hunted around out the back. He has all the class though, and over this trip he is bang there still to be able to pick them up in the closing stages. Very talented horse. Hopefully then he'll use it as a springboard to go on to Aintree, because off a mark of 162, it's not as though he's got a mark to protect for Aintree anyway. The handicap is not going to be fooled by any of that. So for me, Any Second Now, either second in a forecast, whichever way you want to play it. Declan, your selection though? Yeah,
I'm going to go with Galopin Des Champs. Again, whether he's a bet is another thing. But look, I do think, just very briefly, you know, in these markets, the betting without favourite markets, I think they really are interesting. They can open up a race completely different look. It probably doesn't work for this race, but it's just something to note going forward in terms of, you know, approaching races a little bit differently. I'm a big fan of the bet without favourite markets.
Well done. Sam, your selection?
I'm going to go for the favourite boy, but you've convinced me to have a bet, and I'm going to use Declan's method. I'll use on BetVictor, I'll use the without the favourite market, and I'll have a little stab, I think. You've got a good shout there, Kate.
Thank you so much. I'm pleased that you agree, so thank you so much. So that's my selection for the race all the same. Again, do let us know what your own selections are. We're going to move over to the Sky Pad now, because that's all 4 of our Grade 1s done for the Saturday of the DRF at Leopardstown. So we're going to move over. I'm going to ask the lads their fancies for the Cheltenham Festival, but taking into account horses that are going to be running at the DRF this weekend, as well as that, also going to get their best bets for the weekend. Now, normally at this stage, we'll be looking solely ahead to the Cheltenham Festival, but this week we've mixed it up a little bit because I've challenged the lads to pick me out one horse each that is running at the DRF, but with the Cheltenham Festival in mind. So, Sam, you're up first. So, your horse you're looking out for this weekend?
Yeah, just to say as well, Kate, we're non-run and no bet as of earlier this week, so anything you're backing, if it doesn't run at the festival, obviously you'll get a return on your stake. Now, you challenged me to try and find something that I thought was going to run at the DRF and at Cheltenham and Shorten and win. Easy for me, because I've gone for a 20 to 1 shot in Kate Tracey. I've already spoken about why I think he'll win, but a 20 to 1 for the Ballymore, he's obviously going to get trimmed. You know, people moan about us bookmakers all the time, oh, you cut horses too short. Well, he's 20 to 1 right now. That seems to be the best price out there, which we are as well. And you'll get a run if he doesn't turn up. You'll get your money back. I think he's a great bet, full stop, for the first race on day 1. And I think he'll end up about a 10 to 1 shot should he win impressively on the day.
Oh, Declan, Sam did say the point there at the start where we have more freedom probably now because we have non-runner money back with BetVictor.
Yeah.
So how are you playing this?
Yeah, look, I've gone a little bit left field. As anyone who watched the show last week, getting anti-post value now at the moment is not easy. The bookmakers I don't want to say they've done a good job shoring everything up, but I tried to think a little bit outside the box. And look, having watched Phil Doors chasing starts this season, I just do wonder, is there a small chance he could revert to hurdles? I think he needs to go up in trip as well. If he does stay over fences, by the time he gets to Cheltenham, the 5-year-old allowance will be gone. He'll be running off level weights as well. I think he could revert to hurdles. Look, I'm not saying he's a bad jumper of fence, not at all. I'm just not sure he's got the scope, and I think we saw that at Leopardstown when he ran it there over Christmas. I think it was the second last or the third last. He took off nearly outside the wings, and he just barely got over the fence. The form with Vauban is starting to look decent now, isn't it? I was really impressed with his run at Christmas at Statham. He actually surprised me how well he ran. I just think if he reverts to hurdles, he could go off. He could be interesting in that race. Now, look, 12-1. I was trying to get Sam and our friends at BetVictor to give us.
You really were. For viewers out there, he really was trying to
get 14s or 16s. They steadied on. Well, look, we always want more, don't we? I just think he's an interesting. Look, it's pretty left field. I do agree, but with the non-runner money back there, concession there, look, we're not going to lose.
Exactly. Non-runner money back. We could utilise that to our advantage. Agree that Phil Dore wants to step up in trip. Whether or not it's back over hurdles remains to be seen. But a good left field option for us. Now, I've gone Irish Point for this. Again, trying to utilise the non-runner money back concession. At the time of recording, we don't know if he's declared for Sunday as of yet, but that is in the 340, the Grade 1 2-mile novice hurdle, which Facile Vega is contesting. But Irish Point, he's a horse that's constantly overlooked. He is such a trier. He's ever so consistent. I think he's so trip versatile as well. We saw that when he finished second to Marine Nationale over 2 miles. And then last time out in the Lawless of Naas, he stepped up in trip. And again, he finished second in that. So I think he can go for whatever trip. His form continues to work out anyway. And for me, if he goes for the Ballymore, which I think is more open than the Supreme at this stage, 8-1 to me looks a fair price for a horse that is just such a trier. So selection for me, Irish Point, Sam.
Kate Tracey.
And Declan.
Phil Dore on the Coral Cup, please.
Right, so they are our selections then looking ahead to the Cheltenham Festival with the DRF in mind. Again, do let us know your own selections, which horses you're looking out for both of those meetings. Now, this is where the lads put their money where their mouth is, because I require from them their 3 best bets for the weekend. That's Nap, Next Best and their long shot as well. So, Declan, would you like to kickstart us with your best bets?
Yes, well, the best bet this weekend is going to be Red Rookie at Sandown. I think he runs in the 3rd race there. I just basically think he could be a very well handicapped horse. I was looking at the Arkle declarations last year and going, what in the hell is Emma Lavelle doing running this lad here? I think he was rated 138. I was like, he could have gone maybe for the Grand Annual or something, but he ran a cracker. I think he was about 8 lengths down from Edwardstone before he fell at the last. He just stood off too far. But he's been dropped now. He's been dropped another 2 pounds. He made a seasonal debut at Chepstow behind Fugitive. That form now looks even better again, given what he did over at Cheltenham last weekend. So he's going to be the nap. The Next Best we've already discussed. We've all been caught in Nathaniel Lacey on the opening day of the Dublin Racing Festival. And again, the long shot on the opening day of the Dublin Racing Festival Saturday is Freedom to Dream. Chasing hasn't gone to plan this year for him. He's had 2 starts and it just looks like he hasn't taken to it. Back over hurdles. He did run in the Grade 1 here at this festival last year behind Manila Cocooner. Ran well before. I think that he didn't have the class late in the straight. But then he went to the Martin Pipe at the Cheltenham Festival and ran a cracker there. Slowly progressive. Big horse. I think he's going to keep getting better with time. But maybe the key to this horse is Michael O'Sullivan is claiming £5 off him. That is a man stealing £5. I know we like to say it a lot, but he genuinely is. Yeah, he's a classy rider. Yeah. Obviously snapped up by Barry Connolly. He's his #1 rider there at the moment. So yeah, those are the best bets for the weekend. Hopefully they will go a little bit better than last weekend's. But as I said, I've reached for the Father Dougal Maguire collar, and we've got divine intervention on our side.
Touch wood, they couldn't go much worse. So that is, well, you've made very good cases anyway, Rixie. Right, Sam, your own best bets.
Yeah, let's get stuck into this then. So, one of the most interesting horses from Ireland, ironically, is going to run at Sandown on the weekend. Jerry Colombier, I think this horse is an absolute superstar. I know you share that opinion, Kate, yes. So I'll leave a little bit for you to talk about him. But safe to say, unbeaten at the moment, 1 start over point to point. absolutely impressed, I think, through every start. Last time out in the Faheen Chase over Christmas, really, really nice effort. My only concern would be the fact that the ground perhaps isn't going to be as soft enough as Gordon Elliott would like for him, but I think he'll turn up. As long as he gets enough of his toe into the ground, he'll certainly go well. My next best, Declan's got it wrong, I think, with Red Rookie, because Dolos, this is his race. This is his race. I mean, he's even in the race title these days. He won it off £3 lower last year. I know he's getting on in years a little bit, but it is his Gold Cup. And this is exactly why Paul Nicholls is champion trainer with horses like Dolos, really well placed. I thought the run at Kempton behind Editor de Gis, clearly a very nice horse after what happened last weekend. This is his level, this is his race. He's going to be there or thereabouts. He's not at each way price, but I'll chance the winner at 11-4. And then my long shot, a big price, Belle Metal for Willie Mullins. Rachel Blackmore takes the ride in the 340, which is a really competitive handicap hurdle. I think we're 5 places on the race. You're going to need them, I'd suggest. And at 28-1, I'm just really interested in this profile of the horse. Steps up to 3 miles for the first time, has won over shorter, looks pretty versatile in terms of how the horse can be ridden, and I think it's got a great chance. I mean, I can't write anything off of Willie Mullins at the Dublin Racing Festival. 28-1, that'll be my each way play.
Even at 28-1 then. So I feel like I'm being a bit of a cop-out with my own long shot, therefore, because my own long shot is only available at 14-1 at the current time of recording. But I'll get to her chances in a second, because my nap, totally agree with you, Sam. My nap is Jerry Colomb. I couldn't believe the price of him at 6-5. I thought he was going to be going off at even money, if not short. So, like I say, hopefully we get him running. But for me, he's in a whole league of his own in comparison to the horses that he's facing at Sandown. And I think he's going to take the world of beating there anyway. So, yes, hopefully for an Irish horse to actually come over here pre-Cheltenham and to kick the British horses essentially out the way. I think it's notable that they've deliberately avoided Leopardstown, probably because of the quicker ground. And I just think it's a very feasible Grade 1 for him to pick up. My next best, we've all been caught. We've already discussed him already. Currently at that price, it's too big for me to ignore. And my long shot, though, is going to be Regina Draconis. Now, she takes a bit of explain. She goes in the Edinburgh National up at Musselburgh. Big field race, hugely competitive. She has fallen in 2 of her last 3 starts. Whole load of letters next to her name, but she's a mare where she goes so well in February. And I just think that this race should really suit her, because yes, she has her jumping frailties, but Musselburgh's fences, they don't take as much jumping. They're not as robust. Yes, it's a quick track, but you can get away with making more mistakes. She also wants to go right-handed instead of left-handed as well. And I know that there's a big day in here, so I'm hoping they've made the journey across the Irish Sea for a good reason. And Regina Draconis, I thought she'd be bigger, to be honest, but I'll still take her as my long shot all the same. Anyway, so that is all of our selections then for the weekend action. Thank you so much to Declan and to Sam for all of their hard work. Best of luck with your bets, lads, and safe flight as well, Declan, as you head over to Leopardstown as well. So hope that goes well.
Looking forward to getting over. Yeah, should be a great weekend.
Definitely. Well, have fun anyway, all the same. Best of luck to you at home with all of your bets. Do remember you can keep up to date with all of the racing on the attheraces.com website, as well as the ATR app. Best of luck this weekend. Enjoy the action. We'll be back with you again next week, where we'll be looking ahead to the Betfair Hurdle at Newbury.